Hello and welcome to another one of these Tinto Talks that we talk about, where the Tinto does the talking and then we talk about the talking and then we do all that kind of stuff. Lovely image for this. Obviously, we have a bit of Milan. This is, I'm not gonna lie, I've seen better. But hey, Milan, my favorite country. Hello, happy Wednesday. Welcome to Tinto Talks 111. Ryaga is talking to us right now about a rundown on what's in store for 1.3, which I believe is coming out tomorrow, if Ryagi on Reddit is to be believed, and there are no delays. I saw him make a comment yesterday about the beta coming out on Thursday, tomorrow, so that's going to be quite nice. 1.3 has a key focus on Italy, which obviously suits me quite nicely, and the Italian Renaissance, with reworks to two major Italian situations, the Italian Wars and the Guelphs and Ghibellines. First step in these reworks was collecting the feedback, which they did primarily through posts such as this one. This will be Absolute Habibi asking basically, what do we think about Guelphs and Ghibellines? He also did one for the Italian Wars, which was essentially, the answer was, what Italian Wars? If I'm playing in the region, it's already conquered by the time that comes around. After feedback was processed, two strike teams were put together, one for each situation, both with the goal to improve and overhaul the current situation-related gameplay based on that collected feedback. Some of the baseline improvements include adding new actions, options, and content, fixing, tweaking, and rebalancing the existing content, and also looking for UI and art-related visual improvements. So we have Guelphs and Ghibellines that we're going through first, and I think this is still going to be the most important one. So that's these colored bars certainly. I mean, it's the right month for it, but it doesn't look really that great. If I'm being perfectly honest, this doesn't. It's kind of you know. Either way, most common pattern among feedback we received on the Guelphs and Ghibellines was that the situation could be ignored entirely, lacked interactivity, and essentially functioned as a free CB generator and not much more. That's basically my feedback on that was that. One of the primary aims was to make the situation more interactive, along with delivering a UI that gives the players the tools they need to engage with the situation. So this is the new situation panel. You can see how powerful each side is and how much is being contributed. Like, this does give information, but it just looks kind of ugly, I'm not going to lie. So the content designer for the Guelphs and Ghibellines is going to explain a little bit of it. The vision for the Guelphs and Ghibellines was and remains to not solely be around direct acquisition of land, but to play with the factional international organizations and an opportunistic switching of allegiances when necessary. We want the situation to provide plenty of opportunity to go to war with the Force faction CB and bolster the faction's progress with that. Of course, direct conquest should not be fully discouraged, and it's an important part of the Italian gameplay as well. With the changes to Guelphs and Ghibellines in 1.3, they want to introduce more consequences of acting both in your faction's favor and against it. Conflict within a faction should come to the detriment of your shared goals, while acting against common foes will speed up your progress to victory. In addition to that, they also wanted to breathe more life into factional allegiance around players and create a good pace for AI countries to switch sides and redraw the factional lines within Italy. Last but not least, become the leader of the factions should come with a lasting impact and reward on the country itself instead of only affecting the membership within the Holy Roman Empire. This I like. This doesn't say anything. It's a lot of words to say really nothing at all. They want they want it to not be just about using it to conquer. Okay, that's. They already said they were going to do that based on the feedback that we gave. Do we want? I don't know. Like, it doesn't say anything, and now we're already onto the Italian Wars. Like, in the Dev Diary is supposed to like impart information, and we're not actually getting any information. What has changed? What is the new Guelphs and Ghibellines do? Join a faction, that was already there. Request aid was already there. Sanction the papacy and petition for imperial support was already there. So, like, what actually has changed? Why is there more consequences? Like, what are the consequences acting in our faction's favor and against it? What are the consequences here? What is the... Right? What is the detriment we're getting if we conflict with our own faction? why, if we do a like common CB against our enemies, like it'll speed up our progress to victory. This is the same. This is the same as before, because if I killed my enemy, if I killed somebody, if I'm a Guelph and I kill someone in the Ghibellines, the power of the Ghibellines goes down. So that this is the same. There's actually zero information here. Like, there's just vibes with no info. I don't know. I'm not vibing with it. Like, I was pretty excited to learn about what has changed in the Guelphs and Ghibellines, and unless it's down here, and why would you put it underneath the Italian Wars when this is the section on Guelphs and Ghibellines? Like, this is not going to be more down here, is there? Like, I don't know. What's changed? There's nothing here. Whatever. Moving on. Italian Wars received a major facelift for 1.3, and it's something the content designers were passionate about. The baseline feedback was sourced again from the community, primarily through this post on the forums, and the post on the Reddit, and the post on the Discord. So let's see what they say here. I would love it if we could something. Agree with this, whatever he's agreeing with. Some sort of situation actions for Merc recruitment to make getting Merc companies easier and potentially buying them easier as well. Yes, because Mercs are definitely in a good place right now that we definitely want to encourage more Merc gameplay. More dynamism would be nice. Any Christian outside power conquering into Italy should cause the Italian Wars, and more outside power should be allowed to join to oppose the nation that is trying to conquer Italy. Yeah, I agree with that one. Non-Christians should trigger a non-historical Catholic-wide situation. I'd love to see more emergent situations in general. Yep, I'd agree with that one. Played it a couple of times, didn't even remember there were two different situations between GG and the Italian Wars. Not excited to save up resources and then interact with the situation. I think that my issue is, by the time the Italian Wars start, which I actually don't remember when that is, Italian Wars P5 start. 15th century, during the 15th century, so between 1455 and 1455. It's actually pretty early. That feels wrong. That does feel wrong. Yeah, the Italian Wars situation will start after 1437. What the heck? That is actually really early. I've still never seen it happen, though. If I open Italian Wars here, this is the wiki. We go to the Italian Wars. 1437. So 100 years after the start of the game, you need Guelphs and Ghibellines to end, obviously. No country with the capital in the region of Italy and primary culture from the Italian group culture owns more than 200 locations. Okay, so if you own more than 200 locations in 100 years, you can't do the situation. So if you want to play in Italy and have the Italian Wars be a thing, you need to directly like nerf yourself. That feels a bit weird. I like the suggestion here. Any Christian outside power conquering into Italy should cause the Italian Wars, instead of like, I am Italian and I've done my Italian best, and I have done conquerings and unificationings. It should be, oh, somebody's going into Italy. Nah, situation. That I would agree with. I would agree. Eva Shanko, I agree with you. Perhaps not so surprisingly, some of the feedback they had similar patterns to Guelphs and Ghibellines, specifically with interactivity. They also heard from you generally that AI interaction was not guaranteed, and the situation didn't feel like it offered enough rewards or incentive for the player. As with Guelphs and Ghibellines, the content designer is going to talk on this as well. Italian War rework was built around a few clear goals. Add interactivity, make the situation fun to play through, give the AI a stronger read of what's going on, and introduce a new tension mechanic. Okay, what is that? Tension works as both a narrative driver, conveying a region inciting into conflict, and as a gameplay lever that unlocks new actions and effects, raises the prices of military-adjacent goods across Italy. I mean, if I'm going to build a military-industrial complex with my plus 20% weaponry being made in Milan, that seems pretty good to me. Enables military intervention at a grander scale and annuls truces when it reaches the maximum point. I like that. Okay. The roads themselves are now meaningfully powerful, giving a player a real sense of pursuit and accomplishment as they progress. Finally, the UI now surfaces the detailed information players need to engage with the situation, intended to set the baseline standard for every new and reworked situation going forward. Okay. So this is our, what was that bar called? Tension bar. It's our tension mechanic up at the top. This is France and Naples. Let me see who has enough locations in each. But yeah, I mean, it's not actually... Be nice if they had this screen showing Italy, so we could see the sizes of the various people in Italy. I mean, Milan here has 108. I guess the first Italian league will be Naples with 120. Third Italian league could be like Austria or something. They look like they have Venice. Or not Austria, but it would be like just Venice. Okay. And I guess, you can join either side on there as well. Also, this is something that I have not been able to show you yet. This is the new flag for Milan if you become the Ambrosian Republic. So this is Ambrosian Republic Milan, which a larger scale image of that, well, not image of that, but a larger scale doodad of that is seen here on this artwork right there. That's the flag, or the banner, or that's St. Ambrose. That's St. Ambrose in the middle, and then they got the St. George's Cross there as well. Very cool. I like that. I like that they added a new flag from my favorite country. Italian was something they felt is best shown in motion, so rather than going into more depth discussing it, they opted to go for a video and a live stream instead, specifically dedicated to showing off the new Italian wars. Of course, you'll be able to play it yourself in a beta soon. They'll be doing a live stream as a platform to take the questions about the situation, jumpstart another cycle of feedback about the Italian wars. So that's going to be tomorrow at the roughly same time. I think like in 25 hours from now. Or for you, probably just 24 hours. So we'll be having a gander at that. If you can't make it, don't worry, it will be on VOD afterwards. Cool. All right. Two situations are the big ones. They also have a plethora of new general systems, quality of life, always been a fan of that, balance, and other things they felt the gameplay loop would benefit from. Most of the noteworthy ones are here below. Grid power system is being changed. We've already read about that a little bit. Area dominance model, new regional power tier at 15 points, 30 points for full GP status. I was a little confused when we read this before. We'll see what it is when I get my hands on it. I know a lot of people in the comments had their own ideas, but Lambert, you just missed this part and that. Still don't really get it. I'll figure it out later. Province capital lock, permanently designate a provincial capital. I love that. That was not something we knew of before. That's really, really good. Estate interactions, 8 new actions. These ones were seen as incredibly OP. Absolutely giga OP to some people. Let's see if we can quickly find that. Was it in here? Oh, no, that's this dev diary. Estate interactions in here. There. These are the ones that people are, like, having an absolute aneurysm about. And to be fair, some of them pretty strong. Request an emergency loan is the one that I kind of like zoomed in on initially because 11,000 ducats is a lot of ducats, but it is still a loan that you do have to pay off. So that 11,000 with 3% interest at 60 months is going to be, someone can do math, whatever. The one that I think is going to be crazy is actually levy extraordinary taxes. This is basically your parliament button, I think. When you're doing a parliament and you get extra taxes from your estates, but now you can do it on an individual basis, I guess whenever you want, if there's no cooldown. Because for me, at least, playing basically all of the countries I like to play, burgers often have 100 positive satisfaction. So I will quite frequently click this button if it is available to me, because I'll go down to 75, it will slide back up to 100 and click it again. I mean, that just seems reasonable. If that's how it works, that's going to be an income boost for everyone. especially in like game when burgers are making like absolutely tons of money. And if you can do this as well with the commoners, if you can do this with everyone, then that would be nuts. But yeah, we'll see how that works. Yeah, people did get a little bit irate about that, and to be honest, that one seems pretty strong. Coastal, inland, and river combat bonuses. Unit types gain or lose effectiveness based on geography. Auto-expand buildings and RGOs. So this one, I read it wrong, basically. I was thinking this was auto-upgrade. You know, you've just unlocked a new building type, and it will auto-upgrade for you. It's not that. It is building more of a building you already have. In which case, yes, it should not remove the I am over my building limit penalty, as I said stupidly before. This is still an automation mechanic I have no interest in, so you know what? If this is something you like, then fire away, have at. Unified Artist, Court Artist, and our characters with passive modifiers. I really like some of the ones that I've seen for that. Cabinet automation split. Again, I'm never going to automate my cabinet, but cool, whatever. Reformation spread rework. It now uses the movement spread system, basically turning Lutheranism into a disease. But that's cool. That's a really nice change. Rebel negotiations. You can buy off the rebels. But, I mean, for prestige, for legitimacy, probably never going to do that, personally. Fort loyalty and reduce rebel garrisons. I really like that. They roll for loyalty on revolt. Rebel garrisons heavily penalized by revolt type. I very much like that. Automate diplomats. I like that as well. That's really nice. Chivalric orders. Database orders are now defined as self-contained moddable entries. Good for modders. Creditworthiness. This one has a lot of people quite irate as well. The idea of why add new system when many system broken. And I definitely see where the people are coming from with this. And it did seem kind of like, oh, why are we getting this? I am not a historian. I have not studied the Italian period of the 13 and 1400s. It's not something I am well versed in, and it did feel like this is a kind of a modern thing, a modern system, a modern like creditworthiness, and your credit rating, social credit rating, is a modern thing, but apparently not. It does feel anachronistic to me still, but I'm willing to give it the benefit of the doubt. The idea of why add this when game broke is still valid, though the answer to that I think is reasonable from the devs, which have basically said, it's an update and we want to add a mechanic for everybody in an update, and we wanted to add a mechanic that was quite Italy relevant, because we've decided that 1.3 is going to be the Italy rework patch. So this is something that works with, there's a lot of Italian banks popping up around the time. Merchant of Venice, this is a thing that is relevant to the period. Again, that's their justification, and I kind of feel like that's okay. Lend unit to ally. I really, really want to be able to lend my unit to an ally and still have control of that unit, right? If I'm playing as Italy, which I've never done before, and my friend in Spain is fighting France, and I don't want to get involved in that war, but I still want to help him out, I would like to be able to give him one of my armies, and I would like to be able to control that army. Because I tell you right now, I'm never doing this to an AI. I'm never, ever doing this to an AI. They are going to have my army starve and die, and it's never going to be worth it. But if I can control them, I will do it. That's just how it goes. This would be a fantastic way of allowing some more interactivity without warfare, but I need to be able to control these armies. Imperial circles, essentially, you can, instead of improving relations with every single member of the HRE, you can, every member is in a group, and there is a leader of the group, and you improve relations with the leader of the group, and then that is good enough. So this implemented, but with more content coming. Okay, Differences between the beta and the release. Okay, fair enough. Independent operations assign armies to AI control. Government bonds, new debt instrument for countries with the central bank advance. That's the same in that kind of category. And cost to efficiency conversion. 30 modifiers have converted to diminishing returns efficiency with a 50 cost floor. That's good. It's basically construction cost reduction. Used to be just an additive modifier, so you could technically get that down to like minus 90%, and your buildings were going to be incredibly, incredibly cheap. Now it is an efficiency, so if you are at, if you were at 20% construction cost, like you got it down by 80%, and you got another modifier for 10%, that would half the cost of your buildings. Now we're not doing that. We're doing, multiplicative stuff, which is just, I don't know, better. 1.3 also comes with balance changes to the eco, pop demands, navy, military orders. They expect the changes to have a ripple effect through other systems, like mercs, so they're very eager to see how players play with them. Johan went into a little more detail on some of the miscellaneous additions in the previous Tinto talk that we just went over as well. If you're curious about more info, check the post out. One last thing, starting 1.3, achievements will be unlocked in any single-player game, including non-Ironman saves and modded launch option games. Wow, okay, Johan has relented. Okay. I'm not going to be a hypocrite and say that I'm in favor of this change, because I was defending it before. God, okay, I mean, fine, I guess. Okay, well, the confident making the change due to a majority of player feedback since release. That is definitely incorrect. The majority of people who complained, like, there are people who are very passionate about having Iron Man be, dead, but okay. I think this is a mistake, because the people who do care about achievements are the ones that value the achievements, and you are taking something away from them. The people who are like, I'm never going to play Iron Man to get achievements are not, they're not gaining anything. Their arguments were all, achievements are worthless anyway, so why do you care? But the people who care. So you're just taking something away from them. I don't agree with this change. I think that it is, like, I know I'm in the am I in a minority? I don't fucking know. I know that the people who were complaining about this were very, very passionate about it, to be fair. I just think they're wrong. So yeah, I think this is a big mistake. I think it's a big mistake. While, again, when I play EU5, I play with mods when I'm not doing achievement runs. So, for example, the current mods that we use for the multiplayer that I play in are these ones, right? And I would very, very much like to get achievements with actually all of these, but none of these mods make the game easier. None of these mods are completely breaking the game. Adding more rivers is like, okay, that makes some places better, but I don't know, there's now going to be the opportunity and the possibility of people just adding a mod that unlocks all the achievements, like happened to Vic 3. And yeah, I don't know. I think it's a mistake. It's not as easy as flicking a switch. You can expect to see this only partially implemented in the beta, with full implementation during the beta period, and certainly by the time they have the full release. As you might have noticed above, we said tomorrow, and it's correct at the time of writing. The open beta will be available on the 4th of June. They plan to have the open beta for around a month, after which 1.3 will be fully released. So, how is the open beta going to be different from the release? Transfers to share and test the features in 1.3, collecting feedback on them from us, means that while the beta is largely feature complete, still bugs to be fixed and balance changes to be made. Many of the balance tweaks will be based on feedback they receive from us. They plan on pushing weekly updates to the open beta. It's likely the first couple of these updates will be the bigger ones. However, we may do quicker updates for hotfixes if we find game-breaking issues. That's fair enough. So the current list of issues, there are some localization issues for non-English languages. This has been a big problem for specifically French and the Chinese localization. I've heard is quite rough, but that's only because I know a French content creator who constantly brings it up. I don't know if that's also the case for German and such. I don't know as many German content creators. So yeah, hopefully they get that fixed for non-English. Performance has been relatively equal to or better than 1.25. Yeah, considering 1.3 was supposed to be like, oh, we're going to fix performance, that's a little disappointing. If performance is something you've been struggling with, please let us know how your system fares with 1.3 open beta. I will do. Imperial Circle actions for the Emperor. Circle leaders and members are very work in progress. Balances being tuned, especially with Circle satisfaction. Okay, and then balance, like the Italian Wars. Numbers presented in the beta are not final. Sure. And then for achievements, shift from achievements being fully vanilla to Ironman only to non-Ironman and modded has partial implementation with full implementation by the time beta is over. Okay. How do you want to post feedback on the open beta? If you're on the forums, there'll be daily feedback threads that we'll be definitely keeping an eye on. If you're on Steam, dedicated subforum. Yeah, no one wants to go into the Steam forums because holy balls, that place is a fucking cesspit. There will be a beta feedback thread in the Discord as well if you're there. I would imagine Reddit is probably also going to have one because, like I've said before, like Reddit is somewhere that the devs, I wouldn't say frequently, but they are certainly there, especially Ryagi. How is feedback processed at Tinto? It's an interesting and complex topic, I think has room to potentially be explained in even more depth through a future dedicated Tinto talk, but they wanted to touch on the basics of the process since it's very relevant right now to questions we have and the 1.3 open beta. Difference between a bug and a piece of feedback is sometimes not as clear-cut as one might think, and just because something is working as we designed it doesn't always mean the design is immovable. Oftentimes, we'll see bugs turn into feedback or feedback turn into bugs. With that in mind, let's separate the discussion into bugs and feedback. So, bugs are reported, investigated by a human QA to confirm validity, after which they are logged in the choice of issue tracking software Jira. After they're logged, these bugs are then triaged by a lead for the appropriate department for priority. In terms of resources, they split the development team so that work is done in parallel. While some might be fixing UI bugs and working on quality of life, others are improving AI behavior, performance, etc. Of course, they can't assign artists to work on performance or the community team to work on UI. Or at least that's probably not a very good idea. So departments are always communicating on prioritization and scope when it comes to feedback and bugs. And then for the sake of presentation, it'll go from collection to internal discussion, development, and release. You'll notice the distinction between internal discussion and development. Development itself could be split into even more detailed sections, but maybe next time. Most, if not all, direct feedback is discussed by the team internally before it properly begins its development journey. This can be as simple as, hey, this post describes X or Y thing, and I think it's 100% on the mark. Should we do something about it? Yes, make a Jira. I've seen this comment quite a lot in the content creator discords that we have with the devs. This comes up frequently. Or as complex as months-long discussion of pros and cons, as well as potential solutions. Usually it's somewhere in between. When it comes to longer discussions, it's very common that this isn't one single discussion, but multiple repeated ones that can tie into another. After these discussions, feedback is logged similarly to bugs, and Jira is created and tasked out by studio leads. In some cases, for larger batches of feedback, the community team assists by collecting data-driven feedback reports that devs strike teams then use to tackle said feedback. It was the case for both the Italian Wars and GG, as showcased earlier in the TT. Once a feature or solution is actually developed, of course, it has to be tested on the development branches, or if they're feeling confident, beta branches. After this testing, features are slotted into a release candidate branch and eventually go live. And thus begins a new cycle. New feedback on the implemented solution is collected. The process repeats in parallel with other feedback cycles. So closing thoughts, 1.3 beta is open tomorrow. Opting in is, I can show you how to do it real quick if you are not aware. If you're in your Steam library, right-click, Properties, and then go to game versions and betas, and then make sure you have, it'll be probably at the bottom, obviously not this one, but it'll have a, essentially, 1.3 open beta. Click that, it'll start downloading it, and then you're good to go. I'm gonna have Q&As coming soon as well. And then tomorrow there will be a video on the Italian Wars, which I'm definitely going to check out. So, my closing thoughts are, it's interesting that they relented on the achievement situation. I wasn't actually expecting that at all. It is a little bit of a shame that Imperial Circles aren't working as they intend them to right now for the beta, because I think that is something that is going to need a lot of feedback anyway, and I mean, we're going to be giving feedback on something they already know isn't there yet, so that's a bit of a shame, but it is what it is. I actually want to know what's changed with the Guelphs and Ghibellines, because this says literally nothing. We got a new UI with the exact same buttons, despite them saying, we want more, more interactive stuff. Yeah, I don't know. But mostly, I'm just looking forward to the beta tomorrow. So we will see what happens, we'll see how it goes, and we'll give it a try. But anyway, thank you very much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope you have some information to mull over, and let me know how you get on with the beta tomorrow. Until then, toodaloo, bye-bye, see you later.